Welcome to this explainer on mastering subdomain discovery. We're getting right into it today, looking at how anyone with a bit of grit can turn cybersecurity recon into a seriously lucrative modern treasure hunt. You definitely don't need to be a veteran programmer to start finding massive vulnerabilities. Honestly, you just need the right map and the right tools.
So, let's start with a really fascinating question to guide our adventure today. In a world completely governed by highly defended corporate networks, next-gen firewalls, and massive, well-funded security teams, how exactly do ethical hackers uncover these huge paydays? I mean, it's a totally valid question, right? If these mega corporations are spending millions, maybe even billions, on security, how on earth is a freelance researcher sitting at home finding ways in?
Well, the answer lies in a really simple truth from our source material. Finding an obscure, forgotten subdomain is honestly like finding a chest of hidden treasure. The real payouts in bug hunting, they aren't found by banging your head against the heavily guarded front gates of a company's main website. No way. They're buried deep in the neglected, dusty corners of the internet that the company literally forgot they even owned.
To understand why this happens, we kind of have to look at the expanding map of the modern digital landscape. In today's hyper-connected global economy, an organization's digital footprint isn't just growing, it's expanding exponentially. Think about a massive corporation today. We're not talking about just one polished website. They have an incredibly chaotic, sprawling map of digital real estate scattered all over the globe, and it's often growing way faster than their own IT teams can actually track. So what you get is a really stark contrast between what a company actively protects and what they actually own. On one side, you've got the visible assets, the main web properties heavily promoted by marketing and watched like a hawk. But in the shadows, that's where you find the hidden stuff. Security teams inevitably lose track of thousands of hidden APIs, temporary cloud servers, and old testing environments. And because they're forgotten, they're left unpatched, unmonitored, and completely exposed to the open web.
And this systemic corporate blind spot is exactly where our strategy comes into play. This is what gives freelance researchers a massive, totally unfair advantage. The target company is essentially trying to defend a perimeter that they don't even have a complete map of. If you build that map first, you hold the X that marks the spot. You literally know exactly where their weak points are before they do.
Which brings us to the absolute core concept of our explainer today: subdomain discovery. This is the art, and really the science, of mapping out every single hidden corner of an organization's public-facing architecture. By mastering this, you essentially become a digital cartographer. You're not just blindly hacking away, you're systematically mapping out these forgotten architectures to pinpoint the exact coordinates of the buried treasure.
So, what exactly are we finding on these forgotten assets once we map them? The loot is pretty substantial. We're talking critical database leaks, just spilling sensitive info, completely outdated web frameworks that haven't seen a patch in years, wild authentication bypasses where you can literally log in without a password, and totally insecure development environments left wide open. It's on these deeply neglected subdomains that you're going to uncover the most devastating vulnerabilities.
But here is perhaps the most incredible part of this entire framework, especially if you're relatively new to this. You do not need a computer science degree or advanced software development skills to pull this off. By combining highly advanced automated tools with modern AI platforms, like using ChatGPT to help you analyze data or write up your vulnerability reports, literally anyone with enough determination can transform from having zero knowledge into an income-earning threat hunter. The barrier to entry has honestly never been lower.
Of course, a cartographer is nothing without a reliable compass. To successfully unearth these assets, you need to wield an industry-standard tool. Enter the absolute gold standard of open-source network mapping, OWASP Amass. If you want to systematically find hidden subdomains, this is the engine that's going to power your entire operation.
Maintained by the Open Web Application Security Project, which is a highly respected global security organization, Amass is remarkably powerful. It doesn't just guess names. It leverages a ridiculously sophisticated variety of data collection techniques. It actively scrapes websites, queries massive logging databases, analyzes cryptographic certificates for hidden clues, and performs really complex, active DNS interactions to basically pull this data right out from the shadows into the light. Now, to actually use Amass effectively, you've got to understand how to read the map it generates. Amass operates using a series of specific modules known as subcommands. Think of these subcommands as specialized lenses through which you're viewing the target network. Depending on which lens you equip, you're going to discover different types of targets and gather entirely different layers of intelligence.
The very first lens you'll use is the Intel subcommand. This is your forward scout. Because before you can look for subdomains, you need to know what main domains the company actually owns in the first place, right? The Intel subcommand gathers that initial intelligence, revealing brand new, overarching domain names by scraping WOIS registries, tracking ASN blocks, and digging up organizational identifiers. It basically outlines the full boundaries of the property you're about to explore.
Okay, so once your scout has found a target domain, you switch over to the enum subcommand. This right here is where the heavy lifting happens. It acts as an absolute powerhouse engine, unleashing highly optimized enumeration simultaneously across hundreds of external data sources. It recursively digs deeper and deeper to find every single possible connected subdomain attached to that main property.
But remember, the digital landscape isn't static. It's a living, breathing map that's literally always changing. And that's exactly why the track subcommand is so incredibly vital. It monitors changes across your targets over time. By comparing your previous scans against your current ones, Track instantly flags newly added subdomains or services that have just been removed. This lets you catch fresh attack surfaces the exact second a company brings in new and potentially vulnerable server online.
Now, staring at raw text in a terminal for hours can be pretty overwhelming. So the Viz subcommand is a real game changer. It transforms all that raw data into clear, multicolored network graphs. You can export these to visual formats like Gephi to actually map out how all these target servers connect to one another. It gives you a literal visual map of the target's entire architecture.
Finally, to manage all this incredible intelligence, we have the DB subcommand. Amass actually has an integrated graph database engine built right inside of it. The DB subcommand gives you direct access to this, letting you instantly query your historical scans, export specific records, and inspect past data fields, all without ever needing to run a fresh, time-consuming scan. Your mapped territory is saved perfectly for whenever you need it.
So you understand the methodology. You know the exact tools the professionals are using right now. You can customize Amass with critical flags like the target option D to tell the tool exactly where to strike. You have the map and you have the compass. The only question left is, what forgotten corner of the internet will you point them at first?